Hi everybody, my name is Adrielle. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome for the first time. So today I wanted to do a video since today is Thanksgiving for me and that is my favorite holiday. So I went like all out and I wanted to talk about, since it's my favorite holiday, I wanted to talk about some of my favorite books of all time as a part of me introducing myself to anybody who might watch, because I'm still really new and I feel like I haven't really talked about my favorite books at all just yet. So that's what I'll be doing today. I'm not going in any particular order. These all have a really special place in my heart. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and start. So the first book that is one of my favorite books of all time is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I absolutely adore this book. I know I love fantasy, but that does not mean that I don't branch out. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I have read this book no less than 5 times. As a matter of fact, I read the physical copy right here, and then I was like, this would lend itself so perfectly to an audiobook. So then I bought the audiobook and read it as soon as I finished reading this one. And so I read it 2 times back to back. I love it that much. Whenever I'm going through like some tough times, it's like a comfort read for me at this point. It's a book I know I can turn to. It's a favorite of all time. If you don't know, Daisy Jones and the Six is about a band set in like the 60s, I believe, or 70s. And they are made up of a bunch of like rock stars who come together. And this is the story of, it's like a fake biography or a fake, you know, band history about the life and times of these band members. It is centered around a girl named Daisy Jones, who is like an icon in pop culture, and it's just about the drama. It's got drugs, it's got rock and roll, it's got crazy zany people who, if they feel so real. Like, I was reading this book and I kept like coming to like the sad realization that they were not real and that these were not actual songs that I could go listen to. Like, as an avid lover of like rock and roll and stuff like that, and as a reader of books that are genuinely nonfiction who are like this feels so real. Like, Daisy Jones has that big rock star personality. She's just one of my favorite fictional characters of all time, and this is one of my favorite books of all time. Book number 2, taking a harsh departure from that style, is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I love this book. I actually didn't even read it until a few weeks ago. I think I might have read it in October for the first time. I love this book. And at the time of my recording this one, book 3 has just recently come out, and I definitely need to get my hands on it, because as you can see, I've got book 2 right here and I've finished both of them. I love it. This is a war fantasy centered in like it's based on like Chinese war and Chinese history. And it is so fascinating, and this the way that R.F. Kuang is able to talk about like war with no glamorizing it at all, just like the harsh realities. It's grim dark, it's really dark. All of the characters are morally gray. There are times where you don't know who to pull for, which I love that feeling when I'm reading a book, when it's not like, also my eyeshadow matches this cover. Didn't think about that, but anyway, like there are also just times where you just don't know who to root for. I love it. I love the main character, Rin. It follows her as she goes to this place called Senegard Academy, because she studies for it, and she has to take this thing called the Keiju, which is like a test, and she gets into Senegard, and then it follows her, and then war, obviously because it's called the Poppy War, I don't think that's a spoiler, happens, and then it gets real dark. But it's so good. It's just, it does not shy away from the harsh realities of war, and I have so much respect for her as an author. And she's so, the author is so clearly just intensely intelligent, and it comes across in every page. I love this book. So next up, this was my unparalleled favorite book for like 2 years before I started to read some other books, and I was like, okay, this is a contender for my new favorite. But this book will always have a special place in my heart, and that is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Again, this is another book that I've read like time and time again. I'll finish it and then I'll listen to it and I'll start it over. I don't even know how many times I've read it. It's so well loved. Like, if you could just see, this book looks like, I mean, it's in good shape, but it just looks like it's been loved. So I like to keep my books in like really nice shape, but this one looks like it's been just loved. And it's a really popular book, but if you don't know, It's about 6 young people who come together to do a heist. They go to a place called the Ice Court, and they get sent on a mission. And normally I'm not like into heists. Like, I remember hearing people rave about this book, and I was like, well, it's a heist. I'm not really into that. I don't really care. But it's a fantasy heist, and there's fantastical elements. The characters are amazing. They are some of my favorite fictional characters of all time. There's not a week that goes by that I don't think about these guys. Like, they're like a piece of my heart. And I love the like art that's in the front page. But I love them. I love the character, and there's character development. Like, they're not like static characters. They just stay the same. They're very rounded. They don't, but I don't want to say that because I feel like it's a spoiler, but they're just really good characters. Again, just like Daisy Jones and the Six, they feel incredibly real. These feel like people that ought to live and breathe. I guess you're going to be able to see who my favorite author is after this one, but my next favorite book of all time is Ninth House, also by Leigh Bardugo, who, yes, is my favorite author. This book, it has that dark academia feel. I think it came out last year, like 2019. Yeah, but it's about a girl named Galaxy, or Alex, and she goes to like a school in Yale, and it's got like the dark academia vibe. But she's not like, she feels like she doesn't deserve to be there because this isn't her crowd. Like, Alex has had like a really hard life, and I just love characters like Alex. Just like, I don't want to say, like, I love a strong female character, but I feel like she's more than that. She's so flawed, and she's just so, you want to root for her. You want her to find, she's had a hard life, and you just want her to finally find peace. Like, she's seen some stuff, she's been places, and she really just wants to get to a place in life where she can just, you know, chill out and just be. But then there's magic, and there's secret societies, and I don't even know how to describe this book in a way that can give justice to how great it actually is. It's amazing. I loved it, and I've been planning all year to read it again. Just haven't gotten around to it. I've been trying to read new things, and so I haven't really delved back into reading things I've already read before so much this year. But I love this book. I love Alex. She's one of my favorite fictional characters. I keep saying that, but that's kind of what makes these books my favorite. She's one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. And then the magic systems in here, and just the world building. It's like urban fantasy, so it's not like high fantasy where it's like super everything's foreign. So it's cool that it plays on a real place. Obviously Yale, a real place, and the author actually went there, and so it's just like a really personal thing. Like, she knows these places, they're real places, and it just makes it that more real because it's based in something real. I feel like when authors can take something real and put a fantasy element into it, it automatically makes it feel more real, because it is. So next up on my favorite books of all time list is a chunky one, is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This book, I was so intimidated by it because of the size, and I was just like, oh, it's high fantasy. Like, what if I don't gel well with it? I'd hate to DNF a book this size. Like, I really want to go for it and finish it. It took me a few weeks, but I did finish it. It's the biggest book that I've read this year, and I am so happy that I did, because I love the world building. I don't even know how to describe the plot. There's so many different plots. It's about the House of Berethnet, and they rule a place called Innis. And the only reason that Innis is able to survive as a kingdom is because the Berethnet family has had a queen to put in place every single generation. And it's said, there's like a legend that people believe that if the Berethnets die out, the king of Venice will fall. And so it's so important for the people to keep a woman from the Berethnet family in the throne, or on the throne. And it's just so good. Like, there's so many different elements. Obviously, as you can see, a lot of stuff happens in this book, so I don't know how to even give this one justice to talk about it. But then there's, like, in the East, they worship dragons. In the West, they, like, hate dragons, and they call them worms. And obviously, they're the two sides of the world have some interaction. And it's cool to see how the different cultures react to these mythical creatures, these dragons. And if you know anything about me, I haven't shared this yet, I love dragons. They're my favorite mythological creature, or mythical whatever creature. And anytime I want to read a book and I see something about dragon, I'm in. So that's all you gotta do to make me want to read it. but the world building is so good. It's so deep and there's so much history. Like, again, this just feels like something, I know it's fantasy, but I think it's a testament to how good an author is when they can make fantasy feel real, because obviously it's not, and it just feels so real. Like, the history is so deep and rich, and the world building is so intense. The world is so authentically interesting and intricate in a way that is just remarkable. And I know she had a lot of room to do so, but it's still just remarkable. And then it's so much information, but I didn't feel like at any point that it came off as feeling information dumpy for me, which is another incredible feat for an author to be able to pull off, because sometimes when authors try to get like a whole lot of world building, it comes off as like you're reading a textbook, like it's super information dumpy. But not this one. For me, it just flowed. It was brought up, the world building was brought up in a way that made it feel natural and organic to the story. And for that, it is one of my favorites of all time. That's how it made this list. I love this book. Okay, and last is actually a new release from this year, which I'm filming this in 2020. And at least I think it came out in 2020, right? Whatever. It's A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. I adore this book. Again, I'm gonna try to like give it justice. It's about a girl named Karina and a guy named Malik. I heard some people say Malik, but I always say Malik just because. And she needs the beating heart of a king. Malik's younger sister gets kidnapped, and in order to get his sister back, he strikes a deal, and that's what ends up setting him on the collision course to have to kill Karina, and Karina gets set on a collision course to have to kill, you know, a beating heart of a king and whatever. So yeah, I feel like I'm giving out some little bit of what, but anyway, no, it said that on the dust cover, so I didn't give out a spoiler, but they're set on a collision course to kill each other, and oh, it is so good. I love the tension in this book, and the fact that this is a debut. This is her first book, I believe. Like, I can't put into words how impressive that is. I love this book, and I believe book 2 is coming out next year. I saw the cover recently, and I was blown away. I didn't think, because this cover is beautiful, and I was just like, can she top it? Like, can they top this cover? They did. If you haven't seen it, you should look at it, because chef's kiss is so beautiful. The story's even better than the cover. I love the characters again. I love the tension in the story, because I love it when they're set on a collision course. I love it when two characters are set on a collision course to destroy each other. I'm here for it. I read this book so fast, like it had me turning pages, because I just had to know what happened. I had to know. I got this book like as soon as it came out, because I was hearing rave reviews from people who have read the arcs, and I was just like, I need to know. I need to be a part of it. And it was one of the best reading choices I've made this entire year. Yeah, those are my favorite books of all time. I'm happy that I got to do this video. I actually came up with this idea today. Today is Thanksgiving. I'm also going to try to get this video out on Thanksgiving. So everybody just have a great day. Have a great holiday season, whatever you celebrate. And I'll see you next time in my next video. Bye!